Okay guys, this is the second Q&A, top 7 questions. Let's get it going with the most upvoted question from Trevor. He says, are you sure you even want to go back on gear after recovering your natural test levels and fertility? Seems like a lot of pain to go through twice. Have you thought about just competing and comparing yourself to natural standards, since you wouldn't be pushing the limits like other untested guys in terms of blasting tren and other harsh compounds? This is a fantastic question because I get where he's coming from. And 80+% of you guys are natural, lifetime natural, so you've never been on anything. I honestly don't know how things are going to change, but I'm going to stay natural this whole year, and I'll probably stay natural for at least half of next year. As of now, I'm leaning towards doing a 15-week cycle at some point of test, primobolan, and anavar. So that would be going into a meet towards the end of next year, late fall, early winter. That's what I'm leaning towards. And honestly, well, the process has had its ups and downs. I think I'd recover way quicker if I did it again, because I wouldn't be doing all the harsh compounds. I'd actually be on a cycle, and I would be running HCG during the cycle. So I don't think it would be all that bad. And I'm 103 days into this now, and I'm starting to feel 100 times better. So recovery still isn't great, and I don't think I'm over 300 test levels, but I think I could be pushing 300 test levels come March 15th. So really, as far as now, I still have goals. I want to deadlift 904 in a meet, and I want to bench 501 in a meet. Those are the main goals at 220. I don't think I can do that without running a cycle. Even if it's really mild stuff, like primobolan, anavar, things like that, I don't think I can do it naturally. I don't think really anybody outside of maybe like 3 people ever could deadlift 900 pounds naturally. Some people could probably bench 500 pounds naturally, but they'd be very few and far between. So, and just for me personally, I wouldn't be able to hit a 500 bench and a 900 deadlift naturally. If I could get to like a 425, 440 bench naturally, or not on anything, and if I could get to like an 800 deadlift, I think I'd have a shot at hitting the numbers I want to hit if I started a cycle again. So, this could always change. Maybe I will want to stay out forever. I don't want to completely give up competing until I'm like 35. That gives me about 5 more years. So there might only be 2 or 3 more competitions between now and then, and that would mean literally 2 or 3 more very mild cycles of 15 weeks. But I don't think, I'm not ruling that out. We'll see. It's very early and tough to tell right now. Number 2 most upvoted question, what is the heaviest cycle you've ever done, from Mark Knight? So the thing you guys got to realize is people don't really cycle. Like, it's people up their doses as they get close to a competition, and they bring down their doses after a competition, but nobody ever cycles. It's not like people go, oh, I'm going to plan out a 15-week cycle. So this is contrary to what I just said. I never even cycled. For the first time in my life, if I do a cycle again, I want to do a cycle. Does that make sense? So nobody actually ever cycles. People just take tests, and then as the meet gets closer, they up the test, and then they add in more stuff. And then as the meet gets even closer, towards the very end, they add even more stuff in. And then after the meet, they bring it all down. And some people will just go down to the test, but nobody like cycles. Nobody's like, oh, I'm going to do a 15-week cycle. You get what I'm saying? So this is kind of difficult to explain because you're not on the same doses for the same number of weeks. So what I did, going into the meet where I missed 904 at my knees, I was going all out. I'm just like, I'm not even gonna cut weight. I weighed like 255. I was like, I'm just gonna take everything and try to hit this. So I was on my peak doses, highest ever, were 1500 test. This was the last 2 weeks before a meet. 1500 test, 1200 MPP, 25 anavar a day, and then 40 halo a day for like 2 weeks. So I had to drop the anavar to 25 because the 25 anavar coupled with the 40 halo, even on 1200 milligrams of TUDCA and 3 grams of NAC and acetylcysteine, the liver toxicity was insane. Like, I would get so nauseous, I felt like I was going to throw up all day. So the liver was just getting smoked. But what's funny about this is, this would be up for an argument from a lot of people, but 750 test and 350 tren was arguably as strong as that cycle, which was like twice the amount of milligrams, which is crazy, but that's how good tren was, how strong it was. So if I did 350 tren, it beats 1200 MPP, 1500 test, hands down, which is hilarious, but that's the truth. I didn't run tren for like 3 years. I haven't. So it's not something I'm interested in doing anymore. I'm not interested in really doing most of those anymore. Halo, MPP, nothing like that. But Anavar is, that one I'll consider for sure. But that was my peak doses, so highest I ever ran tren was 700 a week before meets for the last like 2-3 weeks when I used to do that. But yeah, that's pretty much the craziest thing. But that's not really a cycle. That's like the final 2 weeks because no one ever cycles. You just ramp up, ramp down. Number 3, are you gonna bring back Freaking Delicious Foods from Lander? So guys, check it out. Freaking Delicious Foods shirt. Kelly and I know this is like a part of my brand, Freaking Delicious Foods, so I do feel like I should bring it back at some point. I think you guys would appreciate that. I know it's not for everybody, but it's a part of my brand. It's a part of my entire, it's like the washer and dryers. It's just a thing. It's what I've done. So we'll see, you know. I definitely think we should bring that back. Number 4, are there any negative aspects of operating your own gym that you think people should know about before opening their own gym? This one is from Hilarious Videos. So yes, this is interesting. When you open a gym, it's always going to be more expensive than you think. Stupid things like paint cans, where you have to buy 40 gallons of paint. It adds up. You have to replace the lights with LED lights. Adds up. It's all these little freaking nickel and diamond things going to Home Depot every single day. That's what gets you. That's where it's just brutal. That's what kills you. The other thing that kills you, you want to be in a place where you never have to run the heat or the air conditioning. The heating is always more than the air conditioning. So summer is much preferred over winter because heating costs a fortune. But your utility bill is going to be nuts. Even for a small space, like we're 3,600 square feet, but the utility bill is freaking terrible. Basically from January through February. And March is starting to warm up, so we don't have to run the heat as much. So it's getting better, but like the utility bill is a killer because you never know what it's going to be. And the colder and more extreme the weather is, the worse it is. So the utility bill, like rent, you know, you sign up for rent. You know what it's going to be every month. Utility bill is just random as heck, and it's like a fortune. So utility bill sucks, and then nickel and diamond you on everything at the beginning. It's not even the equipment. It's like the little things to make the building nice that cost a fortune. So that's the biggest thing. I'm glad we started off with a smaller space because if we would have started with a bigger space, we never would have made it. You would either have to have a huge loan or you would have to like inherit a bunch of money and be able to just buy everything. So we didn't have either one of those options. Number 5, what is the most impressive lift in powerlifting or strongman? From Trey Smith. I'm gonna go with most impressive lift in powerlifting, Yuri's 981 deadlift in a meet, and then I'll go with also, we'll say a tie, and I'll throw in Chris Weiss 942 deadlift conventional in a meet. He also just pulled 971 in the gym. Conventional, no straps, ridiculous. Strongman though, all-time greatest lift. We'll give it to Thor with his 1100 plus, 500 kilo plus deadlift. I mean, that's got to be it, right? That's the most impressive thing. Julius Maddox is probably right up there too, but I'm partial to deadlifts, so that's my opinion. Number 6, what are your favorite secondary movements for each of the main 3 lifts from Brandon S? This one, deadlift, I'm going to go with 45-degree back raises, hands down. Squat, Bulgarian split squats, hands down. And then bench, dumbbell bench probably. Dumbbell bench or dips. Dips, if your elbows don't get destroyed, are the best primary assistance movement. If not, dumbbell bench, easy. Number 7, what does retirement look like for me? From Jeffrey Bengry. So this is interesting because honestly, the goal, the dream for Kelly and I someday is to have a permanent residence in Maui, even if that's 2 decades down the line. But Maui is ridiculously expensive. The real estate there is insane, even for just like a tiny little condo. Everything, all the places have an HOA fee. The taxes are crazy. So I don't know. We'll see. That's the ideal thing. Like, we've been to Maui 4 times, 4 different years, and we love it. That's our place. That's where we got married. So really, you know, just being able to like go out and feel the 80-degree heat all year round and the trade winds and be at the beach. That's what I'd like to do someday. We'll see. That's very ambitious, but that's kind of the layout, man. I love training people though too. You know, I think about like at what point would I stop training people, and I don't know, because I love it. I love, especially when my guys compete in meets and I can prep them for meets and you know, set up successful meets for them. That's my favorite. Like, that's my passion. And my passion for coaching people has grown tremendously in the last year, as I'm kind of like not pushing as hard myself because my body's starting to fight me and I'm not running all the compounds. I've really found a deep enjoyment for helping people get stronger. So that I still think I'd coach people even if I had like $10 million and I didn't have to. I still think I would coach people because I enjoy it. Like, it gives me a passion, and it gives me a reason to be alive, basically. Obviously, my fulfillment doesn't come as much from secular things as it used to. Like, I've deepened my belief in God, my understanding of that, and I try to spread happiness and be positive with people. So it's those things are much greater for me now, whereas I used to just find my worth in training and what I could do on the platform, and what people thought of me on social media. It's less of that, and it's more about like taking care of the people around me, being loyal to them, being a good person, positive, patient, and then just giving the glory to God as far as everything. So I'm kind of getting off on a tangent here, but that's the biggest way I would address that. I love Tennessee though too, so who knows? We'll see. Appreciate you guys watching the video. Subscribe, upvote. If you're interested in coaching, shoot me an email, prstrength1@gmail.com. I'm out.